Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. You'll be seeing this on February 18th. So it's Tuesday afternoon. Um, I'm fine. If any of you are looking at me and going, God, she doesn't look quite good today, I'm fine. I just actually got home from an hour-long deep tissue massage. So I'm good. I'm just, kind of not pulled together. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my new subscribers. Really, really appreciate you being here. To my established ones, I just adore you. So thank you. Um, Thank you for the donations. And beautiful. Thank you. It just humbles me. It does every time. I'm so appreciative of that. People looking for private readings, I'm now booking mid-March. In the description box below, you can find the information to how to reach out to me to get the information you need. Comments are brilliant. Thank you so much. Love the thumbs up. Love all of it. It's been great. Okay, so here we go. Um, when it rains, it pours. Just as simple as that. When it rains, it pours in, the former guy's world, right? It just doesn't stop pouring out there. So I want to take a look at him because okay, so far this week, um, so far this week, the accounting firm has dumped him and said that none of his numbers, etc., are reliable. So like that's not good. That's like really not good. And then I guess this, and so I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon. So just I guess late this morning maybe, um, the the judge ruled in I think it was Washington that Trump and his children need to sit for depositions in the civil case that Lee James is conducting. So now apparently it took 2 hours, this hearing, and there was a lot of contentiousness, I guess we're going to say. So apparently, one of the excuses, my personal favorite, that the Trump lawyer used to say that the Trumps could not, they just couldn't answer these questions because are you ready? Wait for it. Wait for it. It would interfere with their constitutional rights. And then the judge says, "Well, why don't you just, you know, refused to answer, cite the Fifth Amendment, just like your son Eric did 500 times." And the lawyer said, "Oh my God, Trump can't do that. If he does that, it'll be like the headline in every paper, like just everywhere. It'll be a horrible thing." Okay, so you have a guy who feels he can't take the Fifth, but also feels he can't testify. So I don't know, this is my guess, but he's going to go in there and I think he's going to have the world's faultiest memory. He's not going to remember what he ate for breakfast, let alone what he did or said pertaining to his business dealings. Apparently, he recently he was having one of his snitfits about life, and he apparently released a statement that sort of gave a breakdown, some sort of a financial, this is what I owe, this is what I'm worth, da 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 da. In that statement or that spreadsheet, apparently he listed his brand value. So the value of the Trump name brand at $8 billion. So that's fine. Live in your own fantasies, but apparently his lawyers literally the day before had been arguing that you really can't go after Trump because he doesn't know, he's not involved in the day-to-day. He doesn't know how these numbers get created. And then there's Trump saying, yeah, these are my numbers and this is what I'm telling you I'm worth and this is what I owe. And this honestly, the guy just cannot keep his mouth closed. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at. Just a couple quick things that I want to just address before we go forward. First of all, I've been getting some questions about Hillary Clinton, and is she going to run, and should she run? And maybe Biden should, bring her in as vice president. It's not going to happen. Okay, it's not. She is not returning to politics. Whether people who love her kind of like it or not, her name is sort of toxic. And so, you know, and not only that, but then you would have, I'm sorry, but two really kind of older people sitting in the two top offices of your country. It's not going to happen, okay? Maybe maybe there is some other role that she can play, but honestly, if she hasn't um, kind of latched onto something within the government, I think she's busy doing her own thing, and that's terrific, and that's kind of the way it should stay for right now because that's just it's just not going to happen. Okay, I mean that would just be so much red meat for the Republicans that you can't even imagine. Like you just can't. So for those of you who are holding out hope for that, I have absolutely no indication that's going to happen. In fact, I have a very strong indicator that it will not happen. As for the Emergency Act that was declared here in Canada, so I don't know, for those of you who don't know, I'll just give you sort of some ideas of some of the things that this Emergency Act has done. One, um, so if you are in a truck and you're part of the convoy and the truck has a logo on it, the government is now going after and fining your company. Okay, so if you're just a contract driver for ABC Trucking, they're not going after you necessarily, they're going after ABC Trucking. So, there's a lot of people who are just going to lose their jobs because corporations are not too keen on having people come at them. Again, don't forget, 90% of Canadian truckers are vaccinated, and the vast majority of people in Canada do not agree with this. I think that people were a little bit sort of, okay, all right, go ahead, when it was the truckers' convoy. But as soon as it turned to the Freedom Convoy and there was money pouring in from the States and there were people coming in from the state, that stopped it. Whatever maybe empathy or sympathy people had, it sort of vanished as soon as it was, the Freedom Convoy with the red hats with the white writing. The other thing they're doing is they are suspending insurance on your truck, on your vehicle. If you're part of that convoy, well, guess what? You are no longer insured. It's been suspended because I guess you are purposely putting yourself in a dangerous situation. They have, I don't know what they've done, but somehow or another, they've made like tow trucks, that kind of, people or businesses that you need to help move this stuff out when they're refusing to move. They've sort of classified them somehow as like an essential service. So they are now able to get moving some of this stuff out kind of under, I guess, police protection and under a government umbrella. And of course, their money has been just frozen. So yeah. So thank you for those who have been watching those videos. They got a good response, and it looks like things are settling down. They're calming down. Some of the blockades have been removed. Traffic is starting to move again. I guess there's some real diehards still left in Ottawa, but they also are going to find that their days are quite numbered. So yeah, that's what we know. Hold on, I had a flying card and then we're going to get cracking on this. The Wheel of Fortune fell upside down. I don't read reversals, but it literally, when I looked down on it, it was upside down. So I guess that's telling us something about, you know, what we're going to see. So come on down. I have a question. I want to know what's going on in Trump world. Come on down. Okay. So I'll do one final shuffle. And let's take a look at this guy. Trump and family legal. Trump and family legal. Trump and family legal. Oops. Okay, you've got the Five of Pentacles to start off with. That's not great. You've got the Six of Swords. You've got the Lovers. And you've got the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. So right off, what this is talking about is the fact that more and more, the more legal trouble the the family gets into, the more they stand to lose. And they are already, their finances are already significantly diminished from what they were, okay? And nothing is going on, except some of that bogus fundraising he's doing with the, I'm running again in 2024. But in terms of the entire sort of Trump structure, there's nothing really going on that is bringing in money. And not only is it money that they're having trouble with or assets, but there's also a lot of just flat out people rejecting them. People don't want to associate with them. People do not want to be in their circle. So let's just think of it this way. For years and years and years, Trump did his level best to be part of that real moneyed crowd, sort of that upper echelon, I guess, would be his perception of them. He wanted to be a mover and a shaker with those people. Okay, so he never quite made the cut, but I guess in some ways they sort of tolerated him on the fringe, from sort of what I understand. Well, now his name is kind of mud. He's in all kinds of trouble. And those people that he so wanted their admiration and respect are looking at him and kind of going, wow. Okay, so not only have you sort of fallen down in terms of your status and your wealth and your position, but we're also kind of taking a look at the friends you keep. Well, who are his friends right now? They're people who are radical. They are radicalized. They don't seem to have the ability to live in reality. They want reality to be their version of it. That's who he's keeping friends with. And so more and more they're getting pushed to the side or simply not even kind of invited to join the circle, if you will. So that is also causing some significant stress for them because they're literally watching kind of everything that was so solid and so secure just shifting, under this sandy foundation. And especially for the kids, especially for Princess Ivanka, because this is the only life they have known. And so they're really not equipped to kind of get themselves moving forward. And so what happens is they're just perpetually staying in this turbulent, choppy water that is forever keeping them off balance, forever having them kind of being tipsy-turvy. Nothing is solid or secure under their feet anymore. And the more assessing they do, okay, the more they try to look at the situation and move things around and make it kind of work, it just feels like, it's not what it was. And this whole situation is not what they thought it was going to be. They are starting to recognize, I mean, they've been knowing this for months, but lately it seems that the bad news is just piling up. That which they did that perhaps was not exactly what you would call legal, that is all going to start coming out, okay? And the deep searches that are being done on the company, and by extension, some of the big players and the people within the company, it's not going to end like well for them. It's just not. There's too many things outstanding that are legal. So whether it is New York, whether it's Washington, whether it is Georgia, right? That's just not good. Not only that, but you've got that whole thing now that the subpoenas have been issued by the J6 committee for the electorates who were, just signing false documents because they just thought they could get away with it because Trump said they could, right? They could do whatever they wanted because they were the Republicans and they were Trump fans. It's all starting to crumble. And listen, I can hear you guys saying, for God's sakes, how much longer are you going to say it's crumbling before you just damn well tell us it's fallen apart? So the answer is a little ways yet, just a little bit more to do. We're going to continue to hear bits and pieces and bits and pieces. And by time you're kind of at a place where you're actually going to start hearing about indictments, things are going to have been so sort of cracked and broken that it's only going to take a gentle breeze to sort of knock this whole thing flat. I appreciate that this is taking too long and it is crazy making. But in reality, this situation has actually moved along so much faster than would be typical, okay? Especially given who they're going after, who they're investigating, and the kinds of things they're investigating. So there is a lot of factors that go into sort of the timing of this. Part of it is that right now, your country is a little bit like volatile, okay? And there is a genuine concern, and I don't think it's an unrealistic concern, that if they were to just start, perp walking Trump out of Mar-a-Lago and there wasn't a case that was rock solid behind him, and even if there is a significant potential of literally some sort of a civil war breaking out. Okay. So you got to think, like, let's just slow it down a little bit. Let's just sort of see if we can get things to calm down a little bit. Let's get Biden in a stronger position so there are, maybe more people who are willing to listen to reason and reality. So that is one very significant concern. And the other thing that I really, really want you to realize is this is, listen, a whole bunch of years ago, I was involved in an accident. I got kind of hit from behind with a vehicle that was bigger than me. And it took from the time of the accident until that court case settled 5.5 years. Now, 5.5 years is an incredibly, incredibly long time. It's been a year. Okay? Let things kind of settle. It's not going as slow as it feels like it's going, but what's happening is there is such sort of a thirst for judgment, that it really is aggravating when it just doesn't happen right now. They are following the money, and they're following the money in all things. So whether they are following the money about who financed getting the documentation sorted out for the phony electors, whether they are looking at Trump's income taxes, because you know what, did not somebody actually get authorization a few months ago to actually look at the taxes? I don't know if it was the Ways and Means Committee, but there was somebody, I'm pretty sure, who has access to those. Whether they are looking at the business dealings, it's all, because it's who, it's all circulates around money and position and power, acquiring, accumulating, and keeping it at whatever cost. But when people are looking at what you've done, that's not good. They are literally feeling the pressure mounting. They're feeling the walls tightening. And they're more and more becoming actually aware of how strong the cases are against them. And frankly, I don't know if they haven't figured out that they have lawyers that just aren't doing them any favors. Maybe that's all they can afford. Of course, they don't pay anybody. But, the thing is, if you're going to court and you're arguing that having to testify, and it's not even testify, it's give a deposition. So if you're actually claiming that, one, you can't give a deposition because it would infringe on your constitutional rights, or the other thing that they were trying to do is just get the whole thing frozen. They just want the whole thing to go away. And, Letitia James is kind of going, no. And the judges are kind of going, no. So slowly but surely, they're actually starting to realize that those walls are closing in. Those walls that they thought were going to protect them are not going to protect them. And it's not just going to be one of the people of the family. It's going to be several members of the family that just get caught up in the tower. They can bully, they can yell and scream, they can rat and rave. That guy can keep on issuing, memos from the desk of 45. The junior can keep being out on media, ranting and raving, kind of like a loon, and not really appearing like maybe sober. But the bottom line is justice is coming, and it's helpful if people would just kind of pause. And this is what I want you to realize. Okay, this is the other thing. What they are enduring now, what they are suffering now with the unknowing, the indecision, things still being kind of up in the air, right? So they know there's trouble brewing, and they're not sure how big the shoe that drops is going to be, because let's face it, they know their sins, right? So they are going to, what they're going through now is, in its own way, it's karma. They have lost the things that were so important to them: wealth, status, um, whatever the heck else it was, power. They've lost that, and they are now becoming piranhas within their social circle. In fact, to some degree, they're becoming piranhas within the world. And again, there's all this talk about Trump in 2024. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you now, it's not going to happen. But they're going to keep that going, and they're going to keep that narrative going. But like I say, what they're enduring right now has to be pretty excruciating, actually, for people who have always lived in a bubble. Okay? There's going to be more and more and more comes out. Like, literally, I could probably do a reading on Trump every single week and perpetually be covering new ground, okay? Because that's just sort of how this thing is snowballing and moving forward. There is still a lot that's hidden. And I also want to tell you that there is so much that the J6 committee knows that is not even on our radar. It's not even in our consciousness, but it's out there. And they have it. You have to remember, there's far, far, far more people who are complying with and doing what they need to do and going in and answering questions, et cetera, then there are those few people who are jumping up and down and trying to scream executive privilege and, I don't know, family privilege. My daddy was the president, so I don't need to talk to you. Those kinds of people are so far outnumbered by other people who are talking. It's coming together slowly but surely. The hard work continues, and that hard work is whether it is a civil investigation, a criminal investigation, a federal investigation, the J6 committee. It doesn't matter. All those people involved are working diligently to move this thing forward. And the other thing I just want to mention is this. Listen, very often when, okay, and listen, you all would know this just from watching a couple of cop shows, right? They get somebody and whatever he did, and then they start piling on the charges, right? So it's resisting, and then it's assault on a police officer, and then it's, they give you a ticket because you spit on the street. Like, they accumulate all the charges, but when it comes right down to it, they don't they don't end up facing all of those charges. They end up facing the most serious and significant ones. And so, yes, there are some things that feel like, time is running out on them and that you're not going to be able to retrieve them. That's okay, because they're going after bigger stuff. Okay. Um, if listen, it's like this. If you are being charged with vehicular manslaughter, okay, because you like flat out tried to run that person down, they're not also going to take you to court screaming about some parking ticket, okay? So you have to try to remember to keep this stuff balanced. They're not going after every little fish in the pond, even if all of those fishes are attached to that family. They're going after the big ticket stuff because that's the stuff that they're actually going to be able to make some significant headway on and that is going to have serious consequences. And I am hearing it is the money that will bring them down. I don't know. What's that mini RICO thing or whatever it is where they ultimately get kind of caught up with tax evasion, okay? But listen, that church has brought a lot of really big people down, okay? So let's try to stay calm and remember that and keep it in perspective, because this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And you've got to remember that, because getting stressed out and agitated and wound up because things aren't moving fast enough isn't kind of helping. Okay. It's just sort of not helping. Okay. So thank you very, very much for being here. Don't forget, you're seeing this on Friday morning. And so Saturday morning, the Pick Your Crystal weekly readings are out. If for those of you who enjoy that, they'll be out bright and early tomorrow morning. So have a really good weekend. Get some sun, get some rest, curl up with a good book, watch a funny movie. Whatever it is you need to do to help yourself sort of recharge, that's a good thing. We've passed the middle point of February. We're marching towards March. And things just get better as the spring gets closer. So, you know what? Hang in there. We're in this together and we're going to get through it together. Until next time, take care. Be well. I'll see you really soon. Bye bye.